Hey guys, welcome back. So the next one which I will be talking about is Stuxnet. And so we talked about APT1. So now let's talk about Stuxnet. So Stuxnet is an APT which was actually pretty amazing. It did a lot of damage. It got a lot of press also. And I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but I'm going to describe it so that you can get a little bit more familiar with it, right? So a little bit history around it. So it was discovered in mid-June 2010 by Belarusian company. It was a AV company called Virus Block ADA, Virus Block ADA, and it was the first in the world designed to target a physical infrastructure. And I'll explain to you why it got so famous, And yes, physical infrastructure, it caused damage, physical damage, right? And so now just sit back and just start imagining how would a piece of code, lines of code cause physical damage, right? So software breaking into the world or how would this, how is this connection, right? Well, in case of Stuxnet, this was basically designed to target a PLC system, and PLC stands for Programmable Logic Controller. Okay, so the PLC basically allows automation of your electromechanical processes and processes like your mechanical robots, assembly chain robots and so forth, and anything, right? So it basically works with something which is electromechanically done, and the PLC, the Programmable Logic Controller, basically controls it, because that's lines of code which controls your whole process and operation, right? And this is basically done by when they do damage to the machine, and this is done through PLC in some cases. And as I said, it can cause physical infrastructure damage also, right? So first stage, how do you infect, right? So in many cases, USB drive is something which lets you go in and physically get access to a particular network or gets plugged in, and this is maybe through phishing, right? And different techniques out there, and we've talked about some, but then you understand it is first stage infection. You got to infect the system. You got to go to the PLC, and if you have come through the malicious website or something, you can download. If a lot of these places don't have access to free internet also, but then USB, as I'm mentioning, is a good mean to spread the infection or to get the infection. And I'm going to actually talk about a nuclear facility in Iran which got infected by the USB, by Stuxnet, and one of the group, one of the main steps out here is USB infection, and it happened actually. As I said, it was done. These kind of things are very serious things, and it is done by either by spies or there has to be a way to get the USB in. So that's one example which I'll be talking about also later on. But then you need to understand the different worms, because when you're trying to go through your USB or any other kind of infection strategy which you're trying to do, the goal is here, they copy a piece of software, right, the worm or something like that, and it's capable to propagate itself via the USB, even infect and auto run, go from system to system, and it uses your some of the key things. When you plug in a USB, it uses the silent background auto run feature. So basically USB connects, auto run is enabled, and it's going to actually right away execute the autorun.inf, and for which it's always in the root of the USB, which normally has the setup, and even CD-ROMs also carry that. So that's how it auto runs, and it basically it's very risky, because now the infected USB is just going to start spreading infection. So as a security recommendation, I would say it's good to disable autorun, so that you're able to control the USB or CD-ROMs to directly run, and they have a chance to take a look at the content and decide if they want to run it, and then recommend different way. A lot of these also use like 0-day exploits, so that no one knows at that time of the event that the autorun was disabled or not, and it's going to run that and execute. And in this in the Stuxnet case, it was done through USB, and that was one of the features. It did take some 0-day exploits into consideration, not just one, 4, and pretty advanced, as I said, right? Stuxnet, and as I described to you before, also. In order to do that 0 days, it's kind of difficult to get hold of any 0 days, right? So it is very so 0 days are where there is a vulnerability in the system and you don't know about it so far, right? And this vulnerability could be existent, could be there for a long period of time, and it takes long effort. Sometimes companies spend a lot of time. They keep on accumulating these 0 days and don't announce them so that they can use them as part of their APT strategy. So the malicious intent, and some companies, they also pay money to get hold of these 0 days. So so in this case, there were 4 0 days which were used for Stuxnet, and they also used digital signed malware, which was digitally signed, which means when you have a piece of code which is digitally signed, it automatically becomes a trusted, and also signed by a trusted authority. It automatically has a trusted seal, and if it's like from Microsoft or somebody like that, your all your antiviruses and your protection security walls and all, they will simply let it go, right? In this case, they used legit certificates from Realtek and JMicron, and they were used in this particular case. When I say legit, I mean they looked like they were legitimate, but like they were not, right? But then they used stolen certificates and so forth, right? Because that's how they carried the APT attacks, and that's how they infiltrated, right? So the whole thing behind this attack, right? So so it was basically when President Obama, he was actually the president, and he ordered as like a speedy way of cyber attack against Iran, and that's how and it's something I'm telling you because it is in the news, and this was also actually covered up later on when George W. Bush kind of put this as the Olympic Games operation in order to go after Iran's plans. And Iran was, the target down here, and this attack was a nation-sponsored attack done under, started as an Olympic national game operation at the time when George W. Bush was the president, and then Obama, and basically the goal was to go after Iran and go after their nuclear strategy, right? And so Obama continued the Olympic game operation. And in short time, they kind of got hold of APT down here, and in this case the Stuxnet, and supposed to basically they created that. They're done by U.S. government here, right? So as I said, I was talking about APT1, which is China government, and Stuxnet is kind of developed and conducted through U.S. government. On which basically tells us that the cyber war is not just China or not just Russia. Every country, US included, there is a cyber army everybody has, and they enforce that or put that into action whenever they feel appropriate, or defend, or do a offensive mechanism depending upon what is at stake. And in this specific case, Iran, which was Iran was targeted, and it comes up because there are multiple sources of this attack actually are there, and New York Times also documented it. So I'm just basically taking up from there. All right.